Hi, and this screencast is all about how to keep your Daybook electronic with OneNote. So what you can see here is my current Daybook that I've been using in 2012 for my teaching. I have not used any paper version of this at all. I've stuck to it completely being electronic. So I'm going to show you what it looks like and how you do it. So the first thing that I'm showing you is my timetable. This is simply cut and paste inserted from Excel. The reason that I've used Excel is because I can make it more colourful and it's easier to manipulate. You could easily insert a table into OneNote and do it that way, but you can't make the cells coloured. You can simply make the writing coloured. So it's completely up to you, and I'll show you how to insert and do tables in a moment. So that's my timetable, and as you can see at the top, that's the first tab that I have inserted up there. Then I have all the years and classes that I teach across the top, and a few other bits and pieces that can come in handy, like various links that I come across that could be useful, general resources, and one for absences, which I will show you in a moment. So having a look at what a class looks like. So this is Year 7, so if I go to the right hand side over here, within Year 7 I have my lesson plans for Term 1, 2, 3, 4, and I also have a page for resources especially for Year 7, and then I have a planning page which has a it's basically a whole year scope and sequence for the program. One thing that I'm going to modify for next year is to add another page in here and insert the actual teaching program, which I will use to link to my lesson plans, but I'll talk about that when I show you how to do this. Okay, so that's basically how I've set it up. I've got this is simply a table that's been inserted with the date, the period, the lesson plan, any resources needed for that particular lesson, and a column for writing what homework was set, reflection on the lesson, and any other important notes that can be included there. As you can see, what I also like to do is when I'm going through and setting this up for the term, I do it at the beginning of the term. I've highlighted here the important things that are school-wide from the calendar so that I can remember, and yeah, just things that I need to remember as I go through the day. I normally, if I'm out on a PD or something like that, I'll just highlight it as well. And what I also tried to do was put the week B in red, so that sort of differentiated the dates a little bit. Yeah, so that's basically what that looks like, and if I scroll down you can see different bits and pieces. The good thing about OneNote is the ability to either insert particular resources that I need, like a PowerPoint or a worksheet, or as you can see here, I've just hyperlinked the PowerPoints that I need for a particular lesson, and you can see that that is located, it's actually on my USB, and that will just open from there, which is really handy. Also, links and anything else that you need for the lesson. So that's what that particular setup is. It's really quite simple and it's easy to use. If I go across, so obviously the rest of the year groups are pretty similar. They're exactly the same really with the way the lesson plans are set up. Page for links, a couple of things there that I thought might come in handy. General resources, and the way that I've done absences is I have just put the date and then the period, and then I've just written down who was away. There are other ways to do that. I might think about doing it differently next year in having Year 7, maybe putting a new page in, title that page Role, and then I would actually insert a role there as a table and put the dates across and do it that way. So that's just another way that you could keep the role and the absences and make sure that you're keeping the records correctly. So this is how I've done it. So I'm going to do a new one for 2013. So if I go to File and New, now I like to keep this on my USB because that seems to have worked for me. So I will call it Teaching Program 2013 and save it. This is my USB as a folder called OneNote, and I'll just call it the same thing. And oops. Oh, actually I just need to save it in there. Yep. And then create that. Alright, so this is a brand new blank one, and if you can remember, the first tab that I was having there was called Timetable. So what I did there was just right click and said rename, and then I can just type into that tab across the top, and it's called Timetable. And if the way that what you then need to do is name the page, which in this case it's still going to be called the same thing. What I did was went to Insert. Now you can do a few different things with inserting files. You can take a screen clipping, you could just attach the file, or you could do a file printout. And for my teaching program this year, that is actually a file printout, and that's how it comes out, which means you can't edit it from here. So if your timetable changes, which sometimes they do, you have to go back to the original that you created and reinsert it. Okay. Alright. So if I want to insert a file printout, I click on it, and then it opens a file, and then you find the file that you want, and then you insert it. As I said before, you could simply just insert a table and have period 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 across the top, and then you would go down, for example, and insert below to add the days. Probably best to go periods down, days across, which is perfectly fine, but as I said, you can't make the cells all pretty and colourful. Alright, so that's where I put my timetable. I then create a new section just by clicking on that, and then I'd need to name it because it's highlighted to mean that I can actually type in there and name it. So I'll call that one Year 7, and then the first page would be Lesson Plans Term 1, and then that's the pages over here. Okay, so what I would do is add a new page, Lesson Plans Term 2, etc. And just add pages within Year 7. So whatever is relevant to Year 7, you add it as a new page. Okay, now as I was mentioning before, this is going to be something I'll do differently next year, is to add a new page and call it Teaching, actually I might call it Latin Program Year 7 MYP Year 2, and that is where I will put the official program. To do that, I wouldn't do it as a file printout because then I can't edit it. What I would do is actually go to the Word document where that program is, copy everything in that Word document, and paste it into here, which would just simply make it look pretty much exactly the same as it does in the Word document. Then what I would do is simply then hyperlink the thing in the program, the part in the program that linked back to whatever lesson I was doing, and then that would sort of connect my lesson with the teaching program quite nicely. And so how do I actually set this up? So I've got inserted a table which has 5 across, which were called date, period, lesson, plan, resources, and then homework, reflection, notes. Okay, and then you can see I can then insert all those things below, and it's easy enough to write the date, the lesson plan, that what you're actually doing, and add the resources and things like that. And that's how I'd set it up. So that's really simple to do, and it's really effective. It's it's very easy to edit, change around, things get cancelled, you don't get through what you wanted to get through, you don't have to cross things out or white things out. You can simply just delete it or move it or whatever you need to do, and I find that has been really has worked really well this year. Just one last thing, if I go back to my teaching program for this year and I get to my lesson plans for term 4, the way that I register this is just to print this out, and then at the moment I'm attaching it to the teaching program that it covers this this particular subject, but as I mentioned before, what I'm going to do just to make it a bit more easy next year is to add the teaching program into OneNote and hyperlink it, and then all I need to do is evaluate at the end. And that's a really simple way of getting just getting all your stuff together, having it there for you at the end of the year, and making it easy. So hopefully that's been helpful. That's OneNote, and using it for your daybook.